Yo, yo, yo. What's good? What's good? Stormybman, and I am back. Welcoming you to the post-fight show with Stormybman for this Saturday, February 7th, 2026. This is the post-fight show for Ball versus Figueroa, the Wba Featherweight title, which took place on Dazn and out of the UK, Liverpool, if I'm to be correct. Listen, an old adage in boxing: it isn't over until it's over, huh? So with 38 seconds into the 12th and final round, Figgy came through with a devastating stoppage of Nick Ball, and just as true to their nature, the UK public rejected and resented that someone had come to their country and defeated one of their titleists, bringing back shades of memory of Marvin Hagler's defeat over Alan Minter. The very one who has said, "Ain't no N-word gonna whoop me," huh? Well, he did. Yeah. And in a weight class that's dominated with small fry, meaning men of small stature, Figgy, who is an Mexican-American fighter went over there and took Nick Ball to school. Now, many people were saying throughout this fight that it was close, and you could kind of see where rounds were being given to Ball, even though he was being outboxed, even though Figgy was controlling the fight because of his height and range as thought going in. But he saved something in reserve for the last part of the fight, because those punches that he caught Ball with had a little extra mustard on them, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, they did. You see, that's what you call lulling them to sleep, huh? And as you saw, Ball had a difficult time getting off the canvas, because it was almost as if he was saying, where did that power come from? Oh, yeah. This is how you do it. Now, I'm not an advocate of say, well, wait till the last round and get the guy out of here. But what I'm saying is that due to the way he fought, the tactical strategic method that Manny Robles and Figgy had, it worked in their favor, because, you know, a guy like that, you can knock him down and drop him early, and it becomes a different kind of a fight the rest of the way. Cat and mouse, you got to hunt for him and everything like that. But if you notice, they were right there in front of one another for the entire bout. So where was it all of a sudden that Ball can't take the shots? Woo! This is a wonderful comeback win for Brandon Figueroa. Shout out to shout out to Manny Robles, because I'm going to say this. They won't get the credit that they deserve, and the UK public needs to be ashamed of themselves for the way that they responded. They didn't even want the man to celebrate his victory with a joyous action. He did nothing disgraceful. He did nothing denigrating to Ball, but they were hurling things into the ring. I saw two guys get hit, and the security really didn't come into the ring like they're supposed to. And shout out to Figgy for also, in the ring, in his post-fight interview, he respectfully conducted himself. But that was a time to say, hey, you know what? You people are classless. And they are. Huh? These are the same people just earlier this week were attacking Deontay Wilder. Huh? The same. So I hope the champ is prepared to deal with this when he goes over there for April 4th showdown with Derek Chisora at the O2. Because these are who you're going to be dealing with. These are the people. Shout out to everybody that's out there tuning in. Thank you for joining as we cover this event. Take a quick moment to go to the chat and see who we got in the building. Oh, they're going to mess with my audio today, too. I can guarantee you that. Because they mad. They mad, people. But you know, when I was growing up, they had a little old saying, too. When you're mad, scratch your ass and get glad, huh? As I chuck down my root beer. That's what Stormy is drinking for today's show. Yeah. Del Riv is in the building saying salute Stormy. Brandon slowly broke Ball down with body shots and caught him in the 12th. J-Man is in the building saying the Heartbreaker. Benjamin Harrington back with us saying salute Stormy and the chat. Universal Truth saying salute Sensei and chat. Solani Tania is out there saying, glad he lost. He's a dirty fighter, and a lot of the UK fighters are dirty in more ways than one. Yeah. Jonathan Simon is in the building saying, salute OG, blessings to you. What a fight. J-Man is laughing. Queen 71 in the building saying, and good thing, because he would have been robbed if he didn't. Yeah. Universal says, those fans are disgusting. They can be, can't they? Felix Nunez in the building saying, who won? Dial it back a couple of moments, huh? Jonathan Simon is reiterating my point. They did the same thing to Hagler back in the day. Absolutely. Now, I got the audio off. But look at these guys standing up there. They all got frowns on their faces. But you're supposed to be unbiased. As a journalist covering the sport, they all are standing up there with serious frown looks on their faces because Nick Ball didn't win. And had he won or got the robbery, like Queen suggested, they'd be standing up there, oh, what a fight. It was very close, but I did see Nick pulling it out. All of that type of BS. Huh? Yeah, that's what they would have done. And look at YouTube messing with my audio. I can't even get going good. But don't go nowhere, people. Don't go nowhere. Just hang tough with me, huh? Because I ain't going nowhere. They ought to be ashamed of themselves with this mess that they pulled. And they do it often. Anyway, I'm watching the fight, and I'm noticing how they're battling it out at a certain kind of pace. And I'm saying to myself, I'm saying, wow, Figgy is over there in their country. I think he really needs to pick it up a little bit. Yes, they are, J-Man. Yes, they are. You guys have heard me come on here and be clear as a sunny day. There's no reason for this, except for you got some people working for YouTube and Google doing this to me. This is what they do when they don't support you. This is what they do when they don't want you to prosper, huh? Because you got tons of channels out there just talking a lot of nasty stuff, huh? About other people, even shitting on the content of boxing. But here I am, I do my thing, and they mess with my audio. Seriously. Because they don't want you to be here, people. They want you to move along. Oh, his audio jacked up. Let me go somewhere else. That's what they want you to do. But the people who are really down with me, understand, you just hang in there. It'll clear up. They can't do it for the whole show. Because my stream health is reading as healthy. Excellent is what it says. So where is that coming from? It's not my laptop. No. And I'm going to say what needs to be said. Those UK fans, if I'm fighting over there, I got concerns. Because those people don't know how to behave, huh? They don't. And it's not just in boxing. They really show their ass in football, which is their sport of soccer over there. Huh? Throwing bananas on the field at the black players and all of that kind of foolishness. Oh, yeah. But Simon Jordan would have you believe that he don't understand what they mean about it being a race problem when he's talking to Deontay Wilder. And Deontay is telling him, hey, listen, I am a dark black man, and you have no clue as to what I go through. Because Simon Jordan is too busy inflicting these disrespectful epithets at people like Deontay Wilder. See, when you're doing it, when you're the causality, your ignorance won't allow you to observe the plight from a different angle. Because you're too busy filling the airwaves with the bullshit. Joe Gagliardi, what's going on, brother? We got Brandon Figueroa in a victory, a 12th round knockout of Nick Ball. A real knockout. And guys, did you see that referee trying to give Ball all the time he could, just like they did for Tyson Fury? Huh? Did you see it? I saw it. And I'm going to tell you something. Ball should have been counted out from the first knockdown because he was face down on the canvas. And in the meantime, the referee, what's his name? Steve Gray, another one of those guys. He's just like Jack Reese, particularly in favor of UK fighters. Gray was over there so busy in Figueroa's face while Ball is face down. He was missing the count. Remember, there's a ring counter outside the ring, and he's supposed to count from inside the ring, but he's supposed to pick up the outside the ring count. And he went over there, and the guy was like on 8 or 9 already, and he starts counting from inside that count. Did you catch that? And even when Ball got to his feet, barely, he still was asking him, you okay? Huh? Step over here. You okay? You good? You ready? Are you okay? He's like, well, what are you doing, bro? It's the 12th round. Wave this shit off already. See, this is why, family, when I tell you guys, watch boxing, this is what I mean. It falls right into the category. Because this wasn't Deontay Wilder. This wasn't Devin Haney. This was Brandon Figueroa, a Mexican American fighter. Huh? If that would have been Figgy laying on the canvas down there face forward like that, he would have just waved the fight off. We know this with our soul. I try my best, guys, to let you know exactly what it is. And I am not off base. I am not far-fetched. I am not delusional. I'm dealing in the realm of reality. Huh? You saw it for yourself. 1000%. Chiquila, Black Jericho, what's good? When I talk about boxing, I speak from the vantage point of understanding how the fight game goes and how fighters who are fighting and coaches who are training with their applications. This is not my personal opinionated angle. I'm coming to you as clear as day. Clear. This is the type of foolishness that they do. Joe Gagliardi, I see your message there. It's good. It's cool. You know, we do what we do because guess what? There's space for it and a necessity for it. Freedom's March, what's good, brother? Brandon Figueroa. I think this is now his third weight division as being a world titleist. What a wonderful last round stoppage of Nick Ball. This guy who they had been, oh boy, they have been glazing this kid, man. Glazing him. "32 seconds of the 12th and final round. 32 seconds. Meaning when he got off that stool, after Manny Robles was telling him what he needed to do, he went right in there and stepped to that sucker and put him on his face. Not on his back, on his face. Face down. And the UK fans showed their asses by spraying the ring with debris. Savages. That's what they are. Savages. But you know what? Their native son got savaged by Brandon, huh? Classless people over there. Classless. Because Brandon is the kind of kid, he's very even keel. You don't have to treat him like that. You don't have to behave like you did toward him. He's one of the kind of fighters that you want to be a world champion and representing. Yes, he's had his own issues in his personal life, but he's not filling the airways with profanity and all types of disrespect that you cringe when you put a camera and microphone in front of him. He doesn't do that. Like I said, as I'm observing the fight, and I noticed that they were right in front of each other for most of the fight. No leaning up against the ropes and no physical pushing, pulling, and clinching and hugging and all of that. Just kind of trying to punch through one another's guard, probe for openings and things of that nature. But in that 12th round, did Brandon open up with some power that Ball may not have thought was there, because he had a little something in reserve. That was great stuff, man. That was great stuff. Sorry about that. I was lighting my incense. I got to have my little aromatherapy going while I'm doing my show. Yeah, Chiquila, if you're just coming in, they were messing with it a few minutes ago, the audio. But I ain't going nowhere, and neither should you, because it'll straighten out. That's YouTube messing with me again. They mad. They mad because they boy, lost out. And I'm talking about it. See, they pick and choose their battles, how they come after us. Yeah. But I'm going to tell you something. Ball never imposed himself on Figgy. That should have been their first note of alarm because he wasn't able to out-physical Brandon. And it had nothing to do with Brandon's height and reach, but it had a lot to do with Brandon's personality and characteristic trait, because he's actually accustomed to being physical. He and his brother, they kind of like that. They like being physical. So Ball couldn't do that with him. Plus his height and reach put him at acute disadvantages. Yeah. So it is what it is. But boy, when he knocked that sucker out, I was sitting there in my chair watching the fight. I just stuck my fist in the air like this. Yes! Yeah. I love it. Yeah, man. No, J-Man, it wasn't that he got too comfortable. It wasn't that he got too comfortable. What it was is he thought, being the 12th and final round, that he had felt pretty much all that there was to feel that was threatening from Figgy. But see, this is one of the reasons why they'll tell you to, don't start off with all your good stuff right away. You save something. You keep a little something in reserve just in case the fight goes late. You can make a guy respect you, make a guy sense where you're dangerous. But you don't give it your all in the first couple of rounds. That's why you heard me say he couldn't bully Figgy. He couldn't show him out because he was accustomed to the physicality of the fight game. There was no bullying in there tonight. But if you had anything to critique Figgy of, you would probably wonder, like, okay, he's punching that Ball's gloves and every once in a while go down low or whatever, but he didn't really seem to be putting a whole lot of mustard on the shots, did he? Fast forward to the 12th. He caught him sleeping. Munzie Quilla the Great says, my highest criteria for wins is KOs against champs who are the betting favorite. And Brandon just accomplished that tonight along with Dalton Smith last month. This year is off to a great start. Not only is the year off to a great start, but what we're witnessing is when you're having highly competitive bouts, the projected favorites aren't always definite in result. They're not. But that's one of the best things you could do is knock a guy out when you're on the road, because you take it out of the judge's hands, because they were definitely closing the gaps on those scorecards as the fight got later and later, whether Figgy was banking rounds or not. I really enjoyed it, man. I forgot to put my fight poster up. Forgive me for that, you people. There's the fight poster for the fight. I've been so busy talking, it's like I went right into my monologue and everything and forgot to put the fight poster up. I like to have the fight poster up on the screen so people will know what we're talking about. But yeah, Royal Constrictor, what's good? Greetings to you. Salute to the brother Drew Tight. He says, caught him lacking in the home stretch and got stretched. You better believe it. I talked about how he kept something in reserve, Drew. He kept it in reserve, man. Those shots, he hit him solid. Right on the chin. Bam, bam. And down goes ball, huh? Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Raul Garcia, what's good? When Ball went face down, you knew the fight was over. Usually when guys go down face down, that's it. Because that's a result of the switch, the light, the pilot going out in the stove, huh? You hit the canvas, yeah, you could struggle and everything. Sometimes they make it up to their feet, but that's a whole lot to recover from right there. Because it's like your lights got turned out, huh? And when your lights get turned out at home, what's happened? You, especially if it's nighttime, you bumping into furniture and everything, right? Stubbing your toe, bumping your head, huh? Yeah. Well, Del Riv, I already said what I had to say about that Steve Gray guy. He's one of the biggest. He's the Jack Reese of the UK. He shows all of this stuff that is favored for the UK fighters. And if you're a traveling fighter, he'll take a point from you in a heartbeat. So I was hoping that he didn't take a point from the heartbreaker, huh? Because that's what Brandon was doing over there, breaking hearts up there so much to the degree them folks couldn't hold their self. They start throwing debris in the ring, man. The ref hadn't even had a chance to call the fight and they were throwing stuff. Dragon Fang, what's good with you? You guys already trying to put him in the ring with Shoo. Let the man go home with his belt and enjoy his win. My goodness. There's plenty of people to fight. That's for sure at 126. And I can believe that Figgy ain't no duck. He'll fight whoever you put in there with him. But the same can't be said about his contemporaries, though. Hassan 7 fighter, what's good? See, one thing you guys need to learn how to do. Take boxing in. Digest it. Learn what you're looking at. Y'all didn't even see this happening. But in my mind, there's always space for something like what transpired to happen because it is written in the annals of boxing history. It was kind of like I was looking and waiting for someone to do something definitive. And Figgy got off that stool in that 12th round, and he said, hey, I'm getting ready to go for it. See, Ball was probably thinking, I got this in the bag because I'm at home, we're in Liverpool. Did you see the look on his face when he was walking out of the ring? Going back to the locker room? He looked like one of them people that accidentally had diarrhea and boo-boo on themselves. And people can see it. Steve Gray couldn't wipe that away, though. That's right, Tequila. I said it. I said it, and his face said it. Huh? He looked at that little stick walk back to the locker room. Anybody ask? Prince Savage, salute. Look at YouTube just messing with my audio. I ain't going nowhere. Why don't you go somewhere? Stop messing with people's audio while they trying to do their live streams. Bastards. Yeah, just keep coming in there, Messing with the audio. It's too late, damn it. I got over 200 people done watch my shit already. How about that? I'm gonna have to give you the Tupac meme, huh? Yeah, up yours. Yeah. See, Figgy was battle tested. That ain't no Ray Ford, huh? That's a real fighter there. Yeah, see, Ray Ford, he come in there with that old nappy ass head and everything, looking like a field hand. They took his title from him. Heartbreaker went over there with just the right game plan. Stay in there, keep it close, take his ass out late. Huh? Take his ass out late. That's exactly what he did. Left no questions. That ain't no Yep, did exactly what he was supposed to do. I love that. Now, Drew, if you're still out there, that's a hell of a comeback for Figgy after he dropped and laid that egg in his rematch with Fulton, right? That's how you come back. That's how you show the world. You go over in someone else's backyard and make them clean the yard up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. See, when fighters are able to show that, that lets you know they have a little something extra, a little something special. And you have to acknowledge that. Even in future iterations of what they do in the ring, you still have to keep it in your data bank, memory bank, that this guy can win on the road. You have no idea how much pressure is presented to a guy that's in a hostile territory like that. That Liverpool, that ain't nothing but a bunch of them folks with the N-word over there. And I ain't talking about black N-word. I'm talking about that World War II N-word. Bunch of them over there. Yeah. Skinheads and everything. But you know what? Figgy put his foot in all their asses today, didn't he? David Scott III, what's good with you? I tell you, man, this turned out to be great because I wasn't feeling too much of the undercard. However, that one fight on the undercard that was before the co-main, where Andrew Kane and Alejandro Gonzalez fought, that was a pretty good fight. Kane went down twice in the 8th round, and Gonzalez got stopped in the 9th. That was a good fight. That was what they call a knockdown drag out right there. That should have been the co-main event. Shoot, man. I think, wait a minute, was that the co-main or did they put another fight in between? Maybe it was the co-main. Anyway, I like that. I enjoyed the hell out of that. Drew said, I was just saying that. Yeah, man, you go over there and you show these people what you working with. But Drew, as I said earlier, I didn't know if you was in the chat or not, but I talked about these UK people, huh? How they're a bunch of just miscreants out there, just thugs throwing shit in the ring and everything because Figgy upset their guy in his backyard. Hey, Prince Savage, why don't you just celebrate what Figgy just did, huh? He's a fellow American. He's a fellow American, just like Shushu is an American. There'll be time for the people to pick sides and everything when they decide they're going to go against one another in unification, possibly. But learn how to respect the sport. I keep telling you, numbskulls, you need to learn about the sport of boxing. When those folks over there in the UK and one of those guys win a title, like Dalton Smith, who was just mentioned earlier in the chat from a few weeks ago, winning against Sabril Matias, do you think that they were telling one another over there, well, Dalton needs to fight Liam Perro now? No, they're celebrating who brought the victory home. Learn how to do that for your own. This is why Deontay had the problems he had, because when he was going in there against Fury for the first time, you numbskulls wouldn't even support the man. And a shitload of them can come over here on a plane and drown the audiences out with boo birds at the weigh-in against the world champ who's from here and gonna fight here in Vegas. Man, you make me sick with that foolishness, man. America is truly sick and in need of healing and blessings from God, because everybody over here is so fucked up. Everybody. You can't even celebrate your own countrymen. And notice, I called Brandon a countryman. Yes, he's Mexican American, but he's an American. And so is Shushu. But you separate them. You separate them. I don't separate them. And the sport is called boxing. It ain't called American. It ain't called UK. It's called boxing. So when mine can go over there and do that, I'm going to relish in it. Because guess what? They celebrating the hell out of you guys going over there, or they come over here and they taking all your lunch and dinner because you're too damn scared for competitiveness. You're too damn busy running from people, but you'll get on social media 24/7, 365, and then be talking about how great you are, and you ain't even learned how to wipe your fucking ass. No, Anthony Bolton, you got to learn how to enjoy, how to celebrate one another. Because that's the only way we're going to make it is together. We will not make it being separated. But that's too much for you to understand right now because nothing has happened yet to put you in a position to notice where the healing needs to take place. If your ass got sick and went to the hospital, you ain't worried about the doctor being black like you or white like you or Asian like you. You're worried about the doctor being capable to heal your ass. We got a lakefront here in Chicago. The lake is damn near frozen. You could be walking on the lakefront and slip and fall in the water. You ain't waiting for the first person who looked like your ass or is like your ethnicity to come and say, help, pull me out the water. You want the first soul that you see to assist. But see, listening to these fucked up people in the media out here, that's what have you thinking like that. Those social influencers. I'm not a social influencer. I'm a freaking content creator. You understand? And the content that I create has quality to it. Social influencing is whatever the flavor of the day is. Do you like this color today? Do you like that color tomorrow? Huh? This day we wearing our pants like floods. The next day we got to roll them up at the bottom like cuffs. What is that? Trend. I've been here 7 years. And these people took my monetization wrongfully. But if you were supporting me like you're supposed to, they wouldn't have been able to do that shit to me. But I never stopped. I never quit on you. I continue. Week after week after week, I'm putting these post-fight shows together. I put a damn Tuesday tussle together for you. I put a Friday night chop session for you. I do a Sunday call-in. And where you at? I ain't hearing none of you hyping this shit up. Yeah, you might come in and give a view just to hear what he's talking about today. But you ain't hitting the like fucking button. You're not sharing the fucking content. And then you got the nerve to come in here and say, wait till he fights this guy and wait till he fights that guy. Oh, I got so-and-so. You ain't got shit. Your mind ain't right. And when your mind ain't right, that means your heart ain't right. And when your heart ain't right, that means you are an empty soul. You ain't got shit to contribute to society. You might as well be balled up like a brown paper bag and be thrown away in the trash can. I'm always going to tell it like it's supposed to be told. Because it's obvious ain't nobody told your asses before this day. You're still out here doing the same old shit. And you ain't getting nowhere. You ain't advancing. You ain't elevating. You ain't graduating to a new level of consciousness and understanding. You think you can always be on the winning side? Fuck no, you can't. You need to take a loss in life to take a lesson for life. And that's how you can become better. Somebody get Shakur Stevenson and tell him that shit. We got a Cash App donation out there from Double M. It says, cook. You know I'm going to cook. Never stop. Damn near 300 people doing this shit. I ain't lying yet. Not yet. What I say with passion. You know why? Because I feel, I have care, I have concern, I have an involvement, I'm engaged. I'm not out here bullshitting. See, when you learn to receive blessings, you also take in the fact that blessings can come from anywhere. But there's a little word called reciprocation, which means that you give out just like you receive. And as long as that process goes forward, there is a benefit for all parties involved. And to teach the lesson of that, you have to understand that's how you can really get behind who you truly support. But you respect whoever else is involved because you have nothing to gauge against if there's nobody else involved. Huh? DOG 2215, what's good with you? Where you been? Huh? See, that's why I said somebody grab a hold of Shakur Stevenson. Because he'll tell anybody that'll listen that he's the best boxer in the sport. Though we haven't seen him best box against anybody in the sport. We need to see it. If we see it, we can commend him, can't we? We can give it, right? But if he don't do it and he just sitting in the chair on Cigar Talk and all these other stations, that blow smoke up his ass 24/7, 365. How is there a measurement for achievement? Hell, I can sit up and talk about how great an artist I am, huh? And talk about I can draw as good as this person and that person, whatever. But if I don't show my work, you just say I'm talking, right? Same. In order for Shakur to show us he's the best boxer out there, go out there and fight Javier Herrera. Go out there and fight Abdullah Mason, huh? Go out there and fight Ryan Garcia. Go out there and fight Devin Haney. Go out there and fight Keyshawn Davis. Stop being friends with everybody. Stop being the LeBron James of boxing, huh? Where you think you could be on everybody's team and everybody gonna shine. Bullshit. That's why I call you and refer to you as shitty cuz, huh? Because everywhere you go, you spreading the stank, the stench of something foul because you are not on the level and you got poor character, son. And if they won't say it about you, I'll say it about you. And you ain't by yourself because you got a few that's hanging right in there with you, huh? Jerron Boots Ennis, Keyshawn Davis, huh? Yeah. And people like you all. But you don't care about that. You can be mad and pad all you want to, but that's all it is. Because merit and achievement is what really stands the test of time when it comes to this individual sport. Because long after you're gone, nobody's going to be concerned or even talking about what you made, huh? How much bank you have. Nobody's going to be talking about how you fill the stadium, huh? No. What they're going to say is, man, he never fought so-and-so. They're saying that about Riddick Bowe right now. He was supposed to fight Lennox Lewis right after his first victory over Evander Holyfield. The contract was signed. He threw the WBC belt in the garbage, where Lennox was the number one contender for the WBC. They had signed off on a Final Four. October of that year, Halloween, Lennox fought Razor Ruddock. They were the top 4 fighters in the sport. Evander was the undisputed heavyweight champion. Lennox was a number one contender for one of the sanctioning bodies. Riddick Bowe was a number one contender for another sanctioning body. And Razor Ruddock was like rated number 4 in the world. So the 4 of them in 2 fights signed a deal for a Final Four and the winner to take on who was left over. Lennox defeated Razor Ruddock in 2 rounds. Bowe defeated Holyfield with a unanimous decision in 12 rounds, and they were supposed to fight next. Bowe throws the belt in the garbage, even after walking out of the ring past Lennox Lewis and the other commentators who said, hey man, let's get it on. And Bowe tells him, I heard what you were saying about me. I thought we was cool. Man, you ain't gonna knock nobody out. And they had an argument right there on pay-per-view live. Several days later, Bowe throws the WBC belt in the garbage and has regretted it ever since. Because guess what? People can acknowledge Lennox as being the heavyweight of that generation. And Bowe suffered at the hands of one of the worst fighters in the sport, Andrew Golota. Literally ended his career. But if he had stepped up to the plate of challenge, we would have found out who was the man, huh? Ducking and dodging gets you nothing but a hodging. That's right. Right upside your head. Cali Glimmer, what's good with you, brother? I see you out there. Russell Simmons, salute to you. Tim TV, what's good? See, I'll tell it to you straight. And I can always defer to some point in the history of the sport to emphasize the point that I'm making. See, I have that type of background and experience of being around. This is not blowing smoke. You guys can check the source material for yourselves and you'll find out, oh shit, this is true. This is history right here. Yes, it is. Just like what those people in Liverpool did today with Brandon knocking out their native son. Marvin Hagler went through it when he defeated Alan Minter for the middleweight title. Hagler had 50 fights before they gave him a world title shot. 50! If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. Another old adage that has always been a truism. Why do you think the Queen and Mother, Shaquilla Fields, could be in here listening to me? Because I ain't spewing no bullshit, and she can tell you. She's like an older sister for me. So she knows you guys need to learn some things. And yeah, I'm going off because of that one thing that was said in here. Because I want you to get it out of your head. And I want you to elevate your consciousness, your mind, the way that you think. You have to change your mind. You have to change the way you think. And get out of your feelings and get into some emotional content from the mind. Use your brain. Allow the women to feel. Men, you have to think and you have to have conviction. Stop being so damn emotional. People like to criticize women and say, well, the women are all out of sorts. Well, the men are out of sorts too. And if the men got back on track, the women will fall right back into place. Huh? Because they can't be the men and the women. And you shouldn't want to trade your Johnson in for a vagina. What the hell is wrong with you guys? Me coming on here doing a post-fight show on Brandon and having this victory over Nick Ball. You see how many guys out there doing lives on that? Post-fight reactions on that? That's because I cover the sport of boxing. I don't cover what's popular. I don't cover who you know. I cover the sport of boxing. Look at my facing page and look at the content that's on that facing page. My reputation precedes me. hear that melody that's playing? That's jazz. That's not bump and bump. That's not sending out tribal-like wavelengths into the universe. It's something peaceful to put out into the universe. There's a reason for that. That's done by design. You know, with his victory this evening, Brandon has catapulted to number 2 in the world in the featherweight division. Ball has dropped down to number 5. Sandwiched in between Bruce Carrington and Rafael Espinoza. Espinoza and Figueroa would be a tremendous fight because he is probably one of the few fighters that could physically hang with Espinoza because he's 5'9" with a 72-inch reach. Espinoza is 6'1" with a 74-inch reach. So though Espinoza will still have a bit of a height and reach advantage, Figgy could hold his own from a physical standpoint. That is more of a barn burner of a fight than what was suggested with Shushu. Because Shushu is a new champion, young. This is Figgy's 3rd world title, you guys. Put some respect on that young man's name. Put some respect on his name. And I don't say this like, oh, I'm a know-it-all. I say it because if you're really looking at the climate, you have to give credit to how certain fighters are moving in the sport. Prince Savage says, Sensei, trust and believe. I'm a boxer. Went through leukemia, beat it, and came back to my sport. I know integrity and perseverance when I see it. And I know you the truth, Stormy. Hey, man. I appreciate that. I've coached and worked with fighters in the gym, which is why what I say I believe in, because that's the same type of conviction that I try to impose into the charges that I've worked with. Even just being a mentor, trying to help people get their lives on track. That's what you give them. Family, you do the same for family. Everybody ain't gonna listen, because sometimes you still have to go out in life and take that L. But you don't have to take that L as something negative. You can take it as a lesson. It's just a choice of what you're going to do with that L that defines what you've experienced and how it works in your life. Jonathan Simon says, I'm so excited with the division and the possibilities for fights to come. Hey, man, it's looking great, ain't it? It's looking great. I was just looking at the pound for pound ratings for the featherweight division. And I'm like, man, it's about 15 good fighters in that division. Huh? And if a few of them face one another, maybe we can pull a couple of greats out of that. But they don't become great until they face the type of opposition that can test the merit toward greatness. You need that first. That's why Shakur, dining on his own successes, but hasn't dined on anyone that can challenge, you don't just concede and hand him the keys to nothing. That's why I said last night on my Friday night chop session, and yesterday in that live, I said, Bud Crawford gave the baton to Devin for a reason. And Shakur was in the gym with him all the time. But people don't see those little messages like that, huh? And that's not a diss at Shakur. That's an assessment by Bud, whom he could see can handle that position going forward. Okay, we got a Cash App donation. Is that from Prince Savage? For appreciation, he says. I appreciate that donation, man, to the channel, to what we're trying to do here. Thank you so much. Thank you. Over 300 and something people viewing my content. You see what I mean? But we hurting in the likes department. But they'll listen, but they won't necessarily like. Huh? There's a disconnect there because you have a lot of people who can feel that what's being stated, it may even have something to do with affecting them. Not negatively, because if it's negative, it's their interpretation and the way that they receive. But positively, that means that there's space for growth and development. But at the same time, when ego is involved, there's a suppression of everything, which shuts things down. It's why someone can't hit the like button. I may appear to be weak to hit the like button for this because what he's saying, it actually is applying to me. So I dare not do that. But I can go over here and hit the like button for someone who's showing out and acting like a baboon. Something wrong with your thinking and thought process, people. When you do that, I talk about it all the time. We got a lot of fights in February, you guys. A lot of cards. Zufa will have something coming up on the 15th. Sunday, the day after Valentine's, huh? When Effie Ajagba takes on Prince Charles Martin. Two heavyweights. Now, Martin hasn't been as active as we may have liked him to be. Ajagba has been running into situations where people either have canceled fights on him or he doesn't want to take certain bouts with other people. So we'll find out when these two heavyweights come together. Both are 6'5". One's a southpaw. And there's an opportunity for someone to take advantage of this opportunity when they face one another. Then you got Ryan Garcia taking on Mario Barrios for Barrios' WBC welterweight title. That's coming up very soon. They keep advertising it on the zone. Shouldn't be pay-per-view. We got Franchon Cruz's turn. He's coming back to the ring against Clarissa Shields, moving up in weight to challenge her for her undisputed heavyweight title. These two fought one another in Clarissa's pro debut. They have been comrades at times, and now they are at odds because they're facing one another for a pot of gold and for the trinkets. We'll see how that goes. February 22nd. The ladies will get it on. Also, Lee Wood taking on Josh Warrington for the second time. These two, there's no love lost between these men. Warrington had even retired for a short stint, but now they got to come back and prove themselves against one another. This is a good fight to be watching. Make sure you guys tune in for that one. I think that's February. What is that? I forget the date, but it's coming up. Pro Box TV will return another Friday with Tellus taking on Torres. Now, these fights on Pro Box TV, I should not have to remind you guys how important it is to watch those bouts. Huh? And also in late February, we got Navarrete returning to the ring against Nunez. This is another good fight, you guys. Boxing is so lively right now. There are so many fights. But remember, as I told you, when they just start making the matches and guys get in there and start rumbling, unless you write down certain fights and certain particularities about them, by the time the year ends, you're going to be like, man, there were so many good fights. I don't know what I'll pick for fight of the year. That's why you got to follow the sport. That's why you got to get invested. That's why you got to do your part. I'm doing mine. And I can't do it all by myself. I need somebody to come along with me for this journey. Huh? Even Elijah Pierce will finally return when he takes on Para. And that fight was supposed to happen last fall. But it got postponed, and so now these guys are going to finally get it on. But this is what I'm talking about. Boxing is good. It's in a good place. Yep. Snoopy Mac is over there in the Rumble app. I see you over there. Anthony Manzano says, "Hey Stormy, how are you? I had subscribed to your channel again because some reason YouTube unsubscribed me." He's also saying, when you look at the job for these three guys, Virgil, Sebastian, and Xander, who has the pot shotting job, who has the rangefinder, and who has the power jab? I guess you meant jab, you wrote job. Anthony, if you have been subscribed to my channel, then you should know very well about the code of ethic and decorum when I'm having conversation. There's nothing wrong with asking a question, but to go totally off base with what you want to know by interrupting something specific like that, you have to understand that I'm not talking about either of those three men. You see, when I do shows like my Tuesday Tussle, which is Tuesday nights, 8 p.m. Central, where are you? With questions. When I do my call-in show and I say, hey, anybody got some questions on this, or you want to call in and, we can talk it up, chop it up. You see, those are the times. Anything else other than that is out of place. This is what I speak about when I get a little excited, because you guys don't pay attention, man. If you're in a lecture hall and the professor is covering a topic, it doesn't give you the right to come in and ask him about math and algebra. That's a loss of discipline, and it's an execution, an action of disrespect. See, I hold fort truly. This is why I'm saying what I'm saying in the modest of ways, because I'm trying to get through to you guys. Apology is accepted, but you need to understand that there's a time and a place, So that means you have to show up where that can take place. You have to be available for those conversations. That's like somebody coming in here and being like, hey, Stormy, when you and Drew did the Nerds on Culture and y'all was talking about the comedians, hey, we ain't talking about comedians here. Ask me something about Brandon Figueroa, how his jab is, how he controlled range and distance, how he showed power in the 12th round, which I covered all of that during this live. But when you're late and you show up and you don't check the temperature of the room, we get off track and we end up in spaces like this. And that gives YouTube that opportunity to come in and start messing with my audio. Hoping that people will pick up and leave. You see? Talk about this stuff all the time. Yeah, you may have just been, rejoining, But the principles still apply, brother. Don't know how old you are, but if you go back to school, you just can't blurt out in the classroom, can you? There's something called decorum. And you have to get an understanding from the instructors that's presiding over the class. They may tell you, stick your finger up in the air, you got a question. Or if you want to interject something. They should definitely let you know how things are conducted first. But if you miss that first day, when you get the rundown, then that's when you're out of sorts. So being present is the beginning of the process taking place. What I'm saying means a lot. But the application of what I'm saying is for naught with a lot of people. Yep. Snoopy Mac over there on the Rumble app, sharing the link. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, 3 fighters that had nothing to do with this live or conversation. And I just spent a great deal of energy to everyone in the chat expressing how important it is to acknowledge the accomplishment of a Mexican American, now world titleist for the 3rd time, Brandon Figueroa, because people were already ready to put him in the ring against somebody else without even allowing the man to enjoy his accomplishment of having gone over into extreme hostile environment and knocking out their native son in a 12th and final round. And that the people threw debris in the ring, not allowing him to celebrate his victory. Clearly. I say these things, it's like I say it with purpose. In other words, I'm standing strong and solid on what's important in boxing, not the foolishness. If it happened to Deontay Wilder, I would speak with the same conviction and passion. I mentioned Marvin Hagler and Alan Minter. Almost 400. And look at those likes. Can't even get 100 likes out of this. It's ridiculous. That being said, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. and release you all out into the woods of which you come, of which you prefer, because you show me all the time where your interest truly lies. And that's fine. But I've shown you where mine lies. Conviction is really a serious thing. It's a virtue that many people don't carry. Most have space for horseplay, not me. My brother Trick Noty in the building. Says, what's good, Stormy in the chat? What a win by Brandon Figueroa. The ref gave Nick Ball damn near a 20-second count. The standing 8 plus the extra seconds, and he gave him to walk to him. Truly sad. I spoke on the Trick. I spoke on it. I sure did. Steve Gray. Remember that guy's name? I've talked about him in the past. He's the Jack Reese of the UK. Definitely. If there's a major fight over in the UK, he's somewhere on that card, if not in the main event. Yeah. But I'm going to get ready to get out of here. I appreciate those who did hit my like button. I appreciate the Cash App donations. Share the content. Salute to Brandon Figueroa, 3-time world titleist. That young man did something special today, and he should be celebrated. Shout out to Mighty